Jay here for Stretford Paddock. This is the Paper Talk. As you can see, we're live. We're in the studio, so get involved in the comments and the chat. Loads of stories to go through this morning. Some of them are sort of older stories that have come up again. It looks like there's a new twist in them or a new angle, or maybe it's just we're revisiting old news. Maybe we're revisiting old targets. You'll see what I'm on about when I get into it all. We're being linked with Rabiot. There's an old story that's been doing the rounds. Obviously, the takeover saga. There's another story that's been going on and on for months, if not years. Plus, we'll have a little bit more on Jadon Sancho. Another story that feels like it's been a saga. So make sure you are getting involved. You can see Tobias Nilsson, Adam McKee, Anais Tujoga. Also, morning. JKMT says, yes, please. We need to get rid of Sancho. Stephanie Griffith. Morning, Jay. King Dino. Morning, Jay. Glazer's out. Yes. Stuart Thomas says, good day, Jay. Hit that like button as well, people. Make sure you are giving us a like. And if you're not doing already, subscribe to the channel. We want to get to... Let's get to 730,000 subscribers by the end of the month. Come on, we can do it with your support. We can do anything. Let's start off with the Rabiot story then, because this is one that's been going on for... feels like at least since Erik Ten Hag arrived. Remember when we were linked with him last year? I think it was last summer, wasn't it? And then John Murtagh flew to France or wherever it was to go meet Rabiot's mum, who's also his agent. Obviously, otherwise that'd be a bit weird. And she apparently made wage demands that the club weren't willing to meet. Well, it doesn't look like Manchester United have given up on the pursuit of the midfielder. You can see the story here. It's from the Evening News, but it comes from Calcio Mercato. It says United are reportedly ready to make a fresh move for Juventus midfielder Rabiot. Calcio Mercato claims they are one of the clubs keeping tabs on his current situation and could pick him up for free once his new deal expires next summer. I'm just thinking about this, right? The wages that United give out, you have got to be asking for something ridiculous for Manchester United to say, no, we can't afford those wages. I don't know what he was asking or what his mum was asking for, but apparently it was the wages that were the sticking point. And if you look at the deals that Manchester United give out, some of the highest paid players in world football play for Manchester United, and some of them don't even play for Manchester United, but are in our squad. That's the sort of levels we get. You look at people like Anthony Martial and Jadon Sancho. They're amongst the highest paid players in the Premier League. And they don't even start for Manchester United when everyone's fit. I mean, Jadon Sancho's not even in the squad because of other reasons. Anthony Martial's probably like our second choice striker. It is crazy. But apparently the wages that he was demanding or his mum was demanding were too high. But United looking at going back in the summer. Now, I've never been mad about Rabiot. I think he's a decent player, but he's one of those that kind of makes sense. If he's a free agent, if we can get him for nothing, he is a decent midfielder, as long as his wages aren't astronomical, and the manager wants him as well, which he obviously does because he's been pursuing him for a long time, then he is a player that you think could come in and give us an option, because that's been part of the problem, Manchester United. We've had a severe lack of options. I don't think Rabiot is one of the best midfielders in the world, but he doesn't need to be. He just needs to be a good midfielder who can do a job in the Premier League and give you a different option, and I think he could do all those things. Get involved in the comments in the chat and let me know what you think. Do you think Rabiot would be a good signing? Do you think we'll ever get him? What do you make of it? Just let me know. David Garner says, if we can sell Sancho, buy a defender, more important, I think. I'm going to get to the Sancho story in a minute. There's a little bit of a twist or some different angles on that one. Stephanie Griffith says, do exchange deal with Sancho for Rabiot, maybe. I think I get that idea. When I first saw it, I thought, yeah, why not? But I think the problem with that is Rabiot's out of contract in about 6-7 months or whatever. So that is where that cause problems, because you're not going to do a swap deal, I think, if you're looking at a permanent one for a player that's going to be out of contract soon. I think that's why that wouldn't work. Colin Coupleditch says, late joining was watching Steve over on his channel. Big news, Steve's going for a haircut. Good stuff. Good morning from Los Angeles, Jay. Love the passion you bring. Appreciate all the work you do here. Much love. Thank you, Walter. Much appreciated. David Garner says, take him on 150k-ish on a free. Yeah, 150k on a free for a player nowadays makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I don't mind that. I think most players at Manchester United are on that kind of deal anyway. So you think, okay, 150k for a week for a player that's playing for Manchester United, that is pretty reasonable. It's the amount of players we've got that are on, like, I don't know, 275k, 300k, 350k, who aren't performing and a little bit surplus to requirements, some of them as well. That's when you get worried, when you look at some of the deals we've given out. We've been here before under the not under the Glazers, well, yeah, under the Glazers, but also under the likes of Ed Woodward, and now it feels a little bit like under John Murtagh. We've got players who are on these massive contracts, on long-term contracts as well, and some of them, you look at it and you go, are they worth it? Even the bankers, even people like Casemiro, for example. Casemiro is a player that you think, yeah, great signing, makes a lot of sense, but we've given him a long-term deal, we've given him big money, and now people are going, actually, is Casemiro surplus to requirements? Is he like someone who is in decline? And we've got him on this long-term deal for big money, so it doesn't make much sense, to be honest with you, some of the deals we give out. But if it is 150k for someone like Adrian Rabiot a week, then yeah, I'd be all for that. Anyway, let's talk about Wan Bissaka. He's someone who could be having a new deal. If you look at it here, United accelerate new deal with Wan Bissaka. United are reportedly in talks with right-back Aaron Wan Bissaka over a new contract. Football Insider says that while United have the option to extend his current stay by an additional year, they will instead accelerate plans to offer him a new and improved long-term deal. Wan Bissaka is currently out of contract at the end of the 23-24 campaign. Yeah, you can see there, could be ready to offer him a new deal. Wan Bissaka, it's a bit of a shame he got injured. It's a massive shame he got injured because he was doing well, and I think that he is a player that has turned his career at United around. There was a time when you thought he isn't going to stick around at United. It looks like he's going to get sold. It was like last January, everyone thought he was going to go. He wasn't going to go, however. He did end up staying, and he did play very, very well towards the end of the season. And I think when push came to shove, a lot of people look at him and go, he's probably our preferred right back. I know Diogo Dalot's doing very well and he's played a lot of football, but is he first choice? I'm not so sure. It's paper-thin margins between the two of them. Says here that we're not ready to offer him a new deal. If he's going to be out of contract at the end of the season, that makes sense to me. I'd want to get him tied down. I think he's a good player. I think he's a player we should keep hold of. Certainly wouldn't want to see him leave on a free transfer. Let me know what you think. Get involved in the chat and the comments. Do you think that Aaron Wan Bissaka is someone who should be given a new deal? Do you think he's good enough to start? Do you think he should be starting for Manchester United, or do you prefer Dalot? We just need some of these players back, don't we? We need the likes of Reguilon, the likes of Luke Shaw, the likes of Tyrell Malacia. We need them all back. Let's have a look here, what everyone's saying. People talking about, yeah, Mickey Tracy says, Rabbi, no, get me De Ligt. Yeah, maybe. I don't know if that one could happen. RD Singh says, any news on Diallo return? I'm not sure how long that's going to be. I think we're looking at about another month. We'll try and get an update on that. We could probably do with him as well, couldn't we, to be honest with you. He had a very good season last season at Sunderland. Just some options. But people going, oh, you know what, give Palestra a chance, give Palestra a chance. We gave Palestra a chance. Didn't really do a lot with that chance. And I think that someone like Diallo, he deserves a chance as well. It's just a shame he got injured. I think if he's fit, then yeah, get him in that mix as well. We need to see if some of these youngsters are ready for the first team. The only way to see that is by giving them the opportunity. Stephanie Griffith says AWB is a top defender. Phil Berry says too right, he deserves a new deal. David Gardner says, how old is Aaron Wan Bissaka? Still 22, 23. Time to improve. Still, I'm okay with that. Aaron Wan Bissaka, I think someone's replied to that saying he's 25. Yeah, he's 25. Joe Smith just shouted there. So 25 years old. He's still a young man in here. I think if you sign him to a long-term deal, you're going to get the best years out of him. Makes a lot of sense. Let's talk about Jadon Sancho. Sancho, future in balance. It's just not looking good, is it, for Jadon Sancho? It says here, there is a growing feeling around United that Jadon Sancho's career at the club could be over, according to ESPN. The Manchester Evening News reported last month that Sancho could look for football elsewhere should he be left in the cold following his exile from the first team. The report suggests that an apology from the winger could see him integrated back into the first team, but its impact will be lessened by how long it would have taken. So, yeah, it's not looking great, is it? I mean, you can see it there. The MEN have reported it, ESPN have reported it. Looks like it could be over for him at Manchester United. I mean, it's just dragging on now, isn't it? It really is. And I think the longer it goes on, the less people are sympathetic towards Jadon Sancho. Certainly the manager doesn't look like he's budging, and Jadon Sancho doesn't look like he's budging. And now it's getting to that point where even if you say sorry, even if you say, look, you know what, I held my hands up and made a mistake, then it's not going to make a difference because too much has gone on. So, yeah, it's sad to see because I had high hopes of Jadon Sancho when he arrived from Dortmund. When he came to United, I thought, yeah, this is a player that I'm really excited about. Can't wait to see him. His numbers were phenomenal. You look at it, I think he had basically a goal or an assist every game. He was like ridiculous numbers, like Lionel Messi numbers. Came to United, was overshadowed somewhat by a certain Cristiano Ronaldo arriving, but you think, okay, Varane, Sancho, Ronaldo, we just finished second, this could be a positive season. Then you lose Ole Gunnar Solskjaer after a pretty disastrous start to the season. Ralph Rangnick comes in. That era, if you can call it an era, was just a shambles. Jadon Sancho never really gets going. We see moments, so the goal against Manchester City, performance against Leeds, one or two other good games as well, but nothing really to make you think, oh yeah, this is the kind of performances, or these are the kind of performances we saw at Dortmund. And then you end up this last season, where under Erik ten Hag, he does okay for a bit, then he tails off, then he's given a break or given his own sort of personal training regime over in the Netherlands, goes over there, comes back after that, shows signs again, looks like he's back to his best, then tails off a bit again, and then this season, pre-season does all right, scored that goal against Arsenal, you think, yep, okay, maybe there's a new role for him as a false nine. Once the season starts, doesn't look like he's really fancied by the manager. Then he has this fallout after the manager calls him out about his application in training. And we're now in a position where he does that social media post, isn't well received as you'd expect by the manager. The manager drops him from the squad. And we're now in this sort of impasse where he's not in the squad. He's not saying sorry. I mean, does he have a future at Manchester United? Let me know. Do you want to see him back? Do you think there's still a player there for Jadon Sancho for Manchester United, or do you think that we need to sort of move on from him and just get someone else in, or just sell him or loan him out or something? We spent a lot of money on him, spent 73 million quid on him, and he's not lived up to that at all. Now people look at that and he's used as a bit of a stick to beat him with. Can't believe we paid 73 million. I don't even think in this day and age paying that amount of money for a young player who's just smashed it in Dortmund, is that ridiculous? I know in theory, every sort of big money transfer, that price is ridiculous. But it kind of made sense to me. He'd been a long-term target. At one point, Dortmund wanted upwards of 100 million, which would have been crazy. 70-odd million. Youngster, great numbers. Comes from England as well, so it shouldn't be an issue settling in. I thought, all right, that's around the figure I expected. That's not too ridiculous. But he hasn't lived up to that at all. And I think the wages are another sticking point. I mentioned wages earlier. I think Jadon Sancho's on silly money. I think he's on about 300k a week. And when you look at that for a player now who's not even playing, he's not even training with the first team, it is absolutely bonkers. Let's talk about another option with Jadon Sancho then. Jadon Sancho, see here, Man United presented with incredible swap deal opportunities. Jadon Sancho proposal made. Manchester United have a glorious opportunity to cash in on Jadon Sancho in the January transfer window. It says here, United may be handed a golden opportunity to offload Jadon Sancho with the view of suffering a minuscule loss on his transfer fee in January, according to reports. Basically, long story short is, there's talk here, I think if you scroll down, it says near the bottom, that we could be in for Chiesa from Juve. Now, we were linked with him a little while ago. I think if you saw it, we linked with him last summer or it was last January. I think we were first linked with him. There was a few reports. And again this summer, we've been linked with him again about the possibility of United going in for him and trying to bring him in from Juventus. And I think that the fee being touted there was around 43.3 million for Federico Chiesa. It was Calcio Mercato who was saying a few weeks ago, or when was it? When's the last time I saw that? Just let me have a look. In fact, it wasn't even that long ago. I think there was reports recently, even last week, that United could be in for him. Now, we're saying that because Juve want Jadon Sancho and we want Chiesa, could there be a swap deal on the cards there? Could United bring in Chiesa and let Jadon Sancho go the other way? What do you make of that idea? Do you think that's a good one? Do you think that makes sense? Because, I mean, if we do want him, if that is real, if the interest is real, then it certainly makes sense from that point of view because, okay, what we're going to do, sell Jadon Sancho to Juve and then spend that money on Chiesa. That doesn't make any sense if it's, there's a real interest there. Just looking at his numbers, I mean, I know numbers don't tell you everything before anyone starts, but looks like he's doing okay. I mean, he's doing very well actually. He's got 4 goals this season and 1 assist in Serie A, which isn't too shabby, is it? If we're looking at, let's have a look. See what last season held for him. Last season, he missed a lot of the season through injury. So I think he only got a couple. He didn't have a very productive season last season. 2 goals and 5 assists last season. So last season was a bit of a nightmare, but this season much better, starting off in fine form. And you think, okay, if he can carry that form into the Premier League, then yeah, he'd be a very good signing for Manchester United. I know it's difficult and it's different in the Premier League. It's much tougher than it is in Serie A. No disrespect to Serie A. But yeah, let us know what you think. Do you think that would be a good deal? Would you like to see that deal happen? Hit that like button as well, please, people. I mean, I think that makes a lot of sense. I just feel like Jadon Sancho is done. And I feel like if you, after a player like Chiesa, then yeah, why not? Abhinav Verma says, I saw Chiesa's dad in the Beckham documentary. Paul Gray says, I'd rather Erik Ten Hag sticks with the kids than play Sancho ever again. Matt Wicks, Sancho, timekeeping issues and a struggle to find form. Ten Hag wanted to integrate. Oh, a rapist, dearie me. Stephanie Griffiths says, United always overpay twice. Once on transfer fees, second on wages. Matt Wick says, not even a debate for me. Paul Manvell says, Rabiot is a silky smooth Scotty. Ensing says, swap deal is laughable. Juve are not stupid. He says they won't go for it. Do you think they'll go for it? What do you reckon? Let me know. Let me get involved in the comments and hit that like button, people. Come on, we're not even got to 100 likes yet. That is ridiculous. Smash a like. Santa Notch says, I'd be over the moon about Chiesa if he's over his injury situations. Yeah, it looks well. This season he's been doing well. I know last season he missed a big chunk of the season from injury. Renato Tello says, Juve players have not been the best in United. I'm trying to think who. Well, we had Pogba from Juve, didn't we? Ronaldo from Juve. Who else have we had from Juve? I'm trying to think. Paul Gray says Chiesa is getting on a bit, but he is better than Sancho. What is he? He's not. Is he 25? Isn't it? You know, he's not. I think he's getting on a bit. I don't know about you. Well, I think that's a bit harsh. Let me know. Ahmed says Chiesa and Vlahovic are own crown jewels. Says crown jewels there. Ado Wolf says we just need lads with legs at this point. Yeah, it seems like everyone we've got is either getting injured or can't play for different reasons. So it'd be good to have someone who's available. And it looks like Chiesa, to be fair to him, is available this season, has been playing well. So bringing him into Manchester United does make some sense. If we are going to get rid of Jadon Sancho, and Juve want Jadon Sancho, whether they'll go for that deal, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Let us know what you think. Right, let's have a look. What else have we got here? There's another story doing the rounds here this morning. If you can just bring it up on the screen. This is from Fabrizio Romano. It says, understand Manchester United have also added Gonzalo Inacio to their list of centre-backs being monitored, scouted. He said Antonio Silva, Jean-Claire Todibo and Tapsoba remain on the list. No final decision now. It will take time based on player skills, reports, price and more. Yeah, I mean, we've been linked with so many, I mean, he's listed it there, so many centre-backs, it's ridiculous. We do need a centre-back. It's a shame we didn't get Kim Min-jae in the summer. He would have been a great signing for Manchester United. He was a player that was available for a buyout clause. It looked like we were going to get him at one point. Erik Ten Hag obviously was an admirer of him. There was loads of reports that United wanted him, that United were ready to match the fee, all that other jazz. He was ready to come. Bayern Munich went in. We didn't have the money. Same old story under the Glazers. And now we're in a position where we've had to make do with different options at centre-back and moving people around and bringing in Johnny Evans. That's no disrespect to Johnny Evans, but it speaks volumes when you've got Kim Min-jae, one of the most sought-after centre-backs in the world, 25 years old, just won Serie A with Napoli, is available, and we're not really in the mix for him. Bayern Munich just go in there, they get the deal done, they pay the buyout clause fee, and they bring him to the Allianz Arena, and we have to go back to Johnny Evans, who left the club, 10 years ago, whatever it is. I mean, it doesn't look great. So, yeah, looks like we've got a few others on our radar there, all being monitored, scouted. We'll have to wait and see what happens with them. Let me know in the comments, let me know in the chat, who would you like to see to come to Manchester United? Which player, which defender do you think Manchester United should be going for? Jamie Gillespie says, I don't think there's been anywhere near enough hype for the part Garnacho played in our first goal last week. He did very well, didn't he, Alejandro Garnacho? Have you seen that video doing the rounds as well of Zara Connolly from United? I think she's from MUTV, offering a lad a shirt just before the game. She says, we've got you a shirt. And she said to him, before she says, we've got you a shirt, she said, what do you think of Alejandro Garnacho? This is a young lad at the game. He's about 8 years old or whatever. She says, what do you think of Alejandro Garnacho? Probably expecting him to go, oh yeah, I love him. You know, a United fan being asked about Garnacho. He's a pretty popular player, isn't he, amongst United fans? And he says, no, I don't like him. And then she says, oh right, well, this is funny. We've got you a signed shirt from Alejandro Garnacho, and gives him a Garnacho shirt. If you've not seen it, go and check it out. It's very, very funny. Ahmed says, centre-back Tadibo still possible. Shane Gates says, Silva's profile seems elite. What do you think? Let me know. Ant L says, none of the big names. I think we need to get a slice of the Brighton, Porto, Benfica style recruitment in South America. Maybe going there first, because what we tend to do at United is we tend to go for the players once they've been at a bigger club. We tend to get like Harry Maguire, not when he's at Sheffield United, but once he's been to Leicester and played for England, then we'll go in for him. That's kind of what we do, don't we? We tend to get these players in once they've had that move, that initial move for like 5 or 6 million. Then we'll come in and we'll buy him for 50, 60, whatever million. In the case of Harry Maguire, 80 million. It's very rare. I can't even remember the last time we went straight to the player when he was starting off. Maybe Palestra is one. I know we ended up paying a little bit of money for him, but I don't know. Let me know what you think. Do you think that's the way to go? The only difficulty with that is, if we go straight to, say we buy these players from South America, say we go, right, there's a youngster in South America, a young defender or whatever, he's 18 years old, he's absolutely smashing it in Argentina or Brazil or wherever, bring him to United. Sometimes it can be a bit overawing for young players coming straight into the United setup, the United squad, and they need that move. They need that move to another club just to learn that, to sort of get that bit of experience. Maybe it's a Premier League club where they get used to the Premier League, and then they're ready for a move to Manchester United. Not all players can come straight into a team that should be challenging at the top end of the table. Let me know what you think. Do you think that's what we need to do? Phil Berry says, our scouting is bobbins. We never get these unknown talents. I understand that. PA says, we are also always suffering from the enormous bottleneck that is Joel Glazer's decision. We will never be efficient in transfers with him here. Brazilians only want to go to Madrid or Barcelona, says Renato Tello. They are popular, but you can always get Brazilians. You can always get South American players. I just don't think we really tend to go for it. The obvious one that people always talk about, I know it's not us, but is Julian Alvarez. The fact that City got him for a snip. Apparently he was offered to United before he went to Manchester City. For whatever reason, United didn't get him. He's now gone in at Manchester City and done very, very well. He's won the World Cup in that time and also scored quite a few goals for City. And it's those kind of the signings that we don't seem to do anymore. You know, when we got like Chicharito for 6 million, we just don't do it anymore, do we? Let me know what you think anyway. LMAO, if Chaser will go to that SH1T Storm, I agree, to be honest with you. It's not exactly a team that's settled or a club that's settled in the minute. You might look at it and go, why on earth would you want to come to United in the minute with the way things are going? But then again, Juventus aren't exactly a massively stable club. Colin Coupledick says, yeah, I agree. United operate in different market compared to the likes of Brighton. Any failures are immediately under the spotlight. Abhinav Verma says, I think the issue is that Ollie mentioned he was restricted to only 3 signings a season. This restricts your pool. Yeah, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said when he was trying to buy players, he was only given 3 signings a season. So I think you remember his first season he bought, was it Maguire, Wan Bissaka and Dan James. Was it 3 signings the second summer as well? I can't remember. I think it was more than that, wasn't it? Because it was like Alex Telles, Edinson Cavani, Facundo Palestre, Amad Diallo, Donny van de Beek. So I think it changed. I think it was that first initial summer, and then it changed. Or maybe because some of those players were long-term and smaller fees. Like, I mean, Alex Telles was pennies. Cavani I think he was a free agent, so maybe that didn't really count towards his budget or whatever. But yeah, we had to sort of, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had to move things around. I think even Bruno Fernandes, we got him in January. I think he was from the summer transfer budget or whatever. It just seemed like it was a bit of a mess, to be honest with you, our transfer policy under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I will never understand, right, why that summer, when we brought in the likes of Telles, Cavani, Donny van de Beek, Facundo Palestre, Amad Diallo, why we didn't go for a DM, a proper DM. It baffles me. We carried on with the whole McFred thing. We brought in Donny van de Beek. It looked like the manager didn't even want him. He was never a DM, even though a lot of people were saying, oh, try him in the 6. He can play in the 6. He couldn't, and he can't. And yeah, we didn't have one, and we just suffered from that. And you look at that time as well. I'm not saying we should have got him, because he's got his own issues, and I'm not even sure it's a transfer that we wanted. But look, Thomas Partey went to Arsenal for 50 million, and we spent that, almost that on Donny van de Beek. We spent pretty much that on Amad Diallo and Facundo Palestre. Now, those 2 players may end up being very good signings for Manchester United, but for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, they didn't help him. I mean, he got sacked. It just baffles me we never went out and got a defensive midfielder in that window. I think that was a massive missed opportunity. Let me know what you think anyway. Does it matter? Cjo, this is another one, right? Joe James John says, even Trippier, that's a good point, that, right? Kieran Trippier was linked with Manchester United, and I always felt that the attitude from United was, once Atletico Madrid started saying they wanted a bit of a fee for him, I mean, they was saying silly money at first, but it went down. The attitude was, well, you bought Aaron Wan Bissaka, why do you need to buy another right-back or whatever? And I think that was such stupid, short-sighted thinking from Manchester United, because Kieran Trippier would have been a fantastic other option. You've seen what he's done at Newcastle. He's gone there and he's smashed it. And he's been not just a good player for them, but also a bit of a leader as well. And that was what was lacking at Manchester United at that time. And I think bringing in someone like Kieran Trippier, who's a completely different right back to Aaron Wan Bissaka, had a lot more experience, had just won, I think, La Liga with Atletico Madrid, and can bring you that leadership and that experience as well, would have been phenomenal. Yeah, United just didn't go for it because of what, Glazonomics or whatever, just the same old story. Let's talk about Mary Earps. You saw this. This was during the Women's World Cup. Mary Earps, who had a fantastic tournament. I think she was named goalkeeper of the tournament, one of the best goalkeepers in the world, saved the penalty in the final and all that jazz. You couldn't buy her shirt from the shops. I think, is it Nike who do the shirts? They weren't putting them on sale, which just seemed baffling to me. It's like, why not? Why wouldn't you do that? Why wouldn't you let girls who want to buy a goalkeeper top buy the best goalkeeper in the world's top? It's absolutely insane. However, now they are selling him. It says here, you can see it there, we've got it from Joe, says Lioness's goalkeeper shirts sell out in less than 1 day following Nike U-turn on decision not to sell them. So Nike did a U-turn, said, you know what, let's sell them. And what happens? In 1 day, less than a day, they completely sell out. I mean, that speaks volumes, that, doesn't it? That is all you need to know. Seriously. Just shows that was a really stupid decision by Nike. I don't get it. I mean, if you are going to make a women's kit, sell it. Let people buy it. Let young women players buy the kit of their heroes. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And especially when you've got a player like Mary Earps, who is literally the best goalkeeper in women's football, had an amazing tournament, had an amazing World Cup, and you couldn't go out and buy her top. Just dumb. A dumb decision. And I thought Nike wanted to make money. That's the whole point in it. Well, you've made a load of money there because they've sold out. Stephanie Griffey says 129 likes. Hit that like button, people. TG Chubb says Mohamed Simakan from RB Leipzig for around 30 to 35 million. He's 23, could be a good little signing. Stephanie Griffey said Ahmad and Palestri signed for Future because couldn't get Sancho. Well done, Mr. Red. Chris Hornby says we had spent over 70 million on right backs though in consecutive seasons. Had we? Who did we bought in consecutive seasons? I can't remember. I know we bought Aaron Wan Bissaka, but this is the thing, right? You see, when you're buying a player, you go, right, well, that's it. We bought a player for that role. That's it now. That's done. But sometimes when you give yourself another option, you can change the setup. You can do that. You can have different options, not just different options, different formations as well. You look at when Alex Telles came in. Yes, he's a left back. Luke Shaw's a left back, but he's a different type of left back. I know it didn't really work out with Alex Telles, and probably the only thing he did was to give Luke Shaw a bit of a kick up the backside. But you saw it with Tyrell Malacia as well. Tyrell Malacia played quite a few times for Manchester United last season. A different option. So don't buy into the idea of just because you've got one, you don't need to go out and get another one. Also, Ollie wanted him. If you've got a manager, you need to back that manager. Look at the way this club operates and how we back managers to a certain degree. Everyone will tell you we've backed Erik ten Hag, right? And we've got him a lot of transfers, but we haven't always got him his first choice, really. His first choice for a defensive midfielder or a midfielder was Frankie de Jong. He never got him. We tried to, we didn't. We got Casemiro and everyone's like, well, we've got Casemiro anyway, it doesn't matter, he's amazing. And now you're looking at it and people are going, Casemiro might be a spent force, you know. Frankie de Jong's in his, early 20s? He's got a lot of football left in him. Casemiro hasn't. I don't think so anyway, I hope I'm wrong. So I just feel that we don't tend to back these managers fully. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was backed to a certain degree, then wasn't fully backed. The obvious one is Jose Mourinho. We finished second to Manchester City by 19 points. So you think, right, we need to kick on in the transfer window. We need to bring in some big players. We need to give this manager the players he needs. We brought in Fred, who he didn't want, Diogo Dalot, and Lee Grant, a third-choice goalkeeper. City went out and they broke their transfer record to buy Riyad Mahrez, a Premier League winner. And what happens? They just carry on dominating. And Manchester United fall further behind and Jose ends up getting sacked. Now, you might argue, well, Jose was done anyway. But it makes no sense not to back the manager. We just finished second. Back him. He wanted a defender. Apparently, he wanted Harry Maguire. Did we buy Harry Maguire in that summer window? No, we didn't. And the rumours were and the reports were we could have got him for 50 million. We waited till the next summer and got him for 80. It's just ridiculous, fuzzy thinking by the Glazers. It never makes any sense, and it's the club and the team that suffer. Now, let's talking about the Glazers. Let's look at this latest takeover saga. You can see here, if we can just move the that thing out of the way from it, please. No, that's it. Sheikh Jassim reaction may end Man United takeover saga after bid meets Glazers valuation. So Sheikh Jassim and Sir Jim Ratcliffe Manchester United takeover battle could be nearing an end almost a year since the Glazers table biz. Now this is according to the Express, and what this is saying basically in a nutshell is that Sir Jim Ratcliffe's latest strategic move in the Manchester United takeover battle could be the catalyst to Sheikh Jassim bin Hamad Tal Hani's agreeing a deal with the Glazer family. The British billionaire has reportedly met the United owners' valuation, which may spark a favourable reaction from Sheikh Jassim. I think this has come from the Times. According to the Times, the Glazers are considering a revised Ratcliffe offer for 25% of the club, worth $1.5 billion. The Ineos Chiefs' initial bid, worth around $5 billion for the Glazers' 67% stake, met their hefty asking price, given they reportedly value the entire club at $6 billion, but amid a reluctance to sell from Avram and Joel Glazer, Ratcliffe's new approach to accepting a minority stake before a phased-full takeover in the coming years could prove more attractive. Sheikh Jassim is said to have offered $5 billion for 100% of the club and has shown little sign of budging on what is already an inflated price. The Qatari royal is reportedly unconvinced by recent reports regarding Ratcliffe's new strategy, considering it's another tactic to create competitive tension between the bidders. But this is the twist. If Ratcliffe's fresh approach starts to win the Glazers over, it may draw a reaction to end the takeover saga once and for all. So the idea here is maybe you see a bit of a reaction from Sheikh Jassim, and he just goes, you know what, here's the dough, let's have it. It says here now, Give Me Sport report that the threat of the American family opting for Ratcliffe's minority stake investment is the only thing that could see Sheikh Jassim react. Where do you stand on that? Do you see him reacting? Do you want him to react? What's your thoughts? Walter Contreras says, good morning from Los Angeles, Jay. Love the passion you bring. Appreciate all the work you do here. Much love. Thank you, my brother. Thank you. Matt Wick says, Kobe seems to be a pretty decent approximation of a lot of Frankie's skills. Let's see how he gets on. Yeah, he's only a young lad, but he's a talented youngster. We're going to have more on the takeover saga later on. We're going to have Jamie Jackson from The Guardian joining us, so make sure you check that out. Don't forget, if you've not done already, to give us a like and a subscribe. I've been Jay Motty. This has been The Paper Talk. Thanks for watching.